window or something like that. And it was a leaky something, you know, cockpit overhead. It was just pouring through those glasses. And it was a hydraulic nightmare. You had to have so much hydraulic fluid.
Bump in there.
Pouring in, pouring in.
Did you kiss the ground when you got off that one?
No, but I brought, no, that wasn't the one. It was the one with hydraulic, but we got an advanced one after that called the Flying Boxcar. And it had some numbers too. We called it $1.19. It was a 119. What was it? But we dropped troops out of that, and freight had to go out and come down.
Was it just for them to practice?
Yeah, yeah. And we did that. Flying boxcar, that's what it was. Just twin engine.
Was the C-124 the forerunner of the C-130? Same thing there, where you put everything out the back?
Same time. Yeah. The 130 was
bigger.
No, it's smaller.
Smaller?
Yeah.
Than this?
Everything's smaller than that.
Good grief.
It doesn't tell you that right there, you see, compared to that.
Because that C-130 is huge.
Yeah.
And now what's that new one, the 140? Or the newest one?
C5 is the biggest.
Is that the one that you see them, well, yeah, it must be.
Pure jet.
Those things are enormous.
Yeah. Well, the 119 is what they have now, depend on worldwide. We can't get enough money to buy more of them.
Yeah, because that one really doesn't look that big.
No, no. This scale is not.
Yeah, not the same as the other. You know, Frank loves to build models.
Yeah.
Or he likes to buy them. I'm not sure if he loves to build them.
We've had some chimes out there. You've seen those, haven't you? On the front. That a few years ago they brought it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He brought me some too, but ours
fell apart.
gave way, and he's got to redo it.
The street, you know, Florida rots everything.
Still hanging there, and kind of sheltered, but not totally dry.
Ours weren't.
But it take a lot of wind to make it chime.
Mm-hmm.
The little one up there just
I had them hanging on the end of my clothesline, and every time I walk down there, I'd make them shine.
Yeah, speak up.
Because they were big, you know, and heavy, and like you said, it took a lot of wind.
That'd make a good dinner bell.
Yeah.
Were you drafted into the service?
No.
No?
No.
Signed up after the attack on Pearl
I
Harbor?
looked at putting up box mail in the post office.
Mm-hmm.
I'd look at some of the magazines, and here'd be a picture of something in flight, you know, someplace or other.
Mm-hmm.
One day I saw an ad in there by the Army Air Corps. It was all Army then. And we didn't have an Air Force till 1947. But we were called the 8th Air Force in England, the mighty 8th now. That you came up in 95, you came right by it. And Savannah,
We did see that.
Yeah.
yeah, 98. Well, that was the 8th Air Force, but it was the Army's 8th Air Force in Europe at the time. Now, the new one formed in 1947. Katie and I went to that meeting, by the way, and I think the President was there. Eisenhower. I think he was there. Anyway, that was where we got to be economists with all the others, and the Navy couldn't tolerate that. Our Army couldn't tolerate that. Marines, you know.
Well, how did you get into the service, though?
Oh, excuse me. I saw this ad. Well, there's some pictures. There's attention young men, not women. No mix.
How old were you?
I was already married, and I married on my, the day after I was married, I was 21.
21.
Yeah, and then of course I worked several years like that before 41,
Yeah.
and so I had appeal to me, and I took the ad home, showed it to Katie. She says, "Oh, no, you don't." No way. And I said, "Well, that's the way I feel too, except I got a draft card in my pocket, and it's a good number. It's, the wrong thing, probably. But even when, if at all, I'm drafted, and I have no choices. You might get a preference, maybe get it, maybe not. But anyway, you're assigned into the branch if they need more people. And so we kept mulling this over and praying about it, and we finally said, "Yeah, let's go." And I sent in one of the little advertisements that they were putting in those magazines, and I got a letter from them saying that on such and such a day, this meeting would be here at Camp Cross in Spartanburg. That was Army stuff. And I got over there on that Saturday. The place was covered in young men. I mean, really young men. I'd been out of high school for 7 years.
Excuse me. All I got to do is find.
And explain,
Really?
I just don't tolerate those calls.
I don't either. They say you can lay the phone down and, it fouls them up,
Well,
just walking off.
Didn't you tell me that something of his is in the Smithsonian Institute, or his?
Frank found something in that flight museum that you were talking about. Is it a brick or something dedicated to Fred Rector crew?
Oh,
You know?
that was at the Savannah.
Well, he thought,
Yeah, I know.
of course, yeah, now you know the story, but
You go listen, he did.
yeah.
It looked like everybody,
Yeah.
but it was my original crew that I carried.
Yeah.
Now, they did get wiped out
Yeah.
after we flew together alone, and I wasn't on that particular mission. Yeah, that's a great place down there. I carried a memento for them, and I read about it, not with me then, but I read about what was posted on the walls in each barracks there in a prison camp. Creedy, that's how we were known. This Red Cross lady knows what we were called, so she refers to the Creedies, Creedies being in a camp called Evasion Lager War. I can't remember the word for war. Evasion is a prisoner. Lager is the camp. So that's how we were known. She kind of let stone to that, and I told her everything we had. We called Creedy, little wool hats that were really helmet liners, and they passed them around. Everybody had them, wore it all the time. I mean, kind of cold weather. But this day in Spartanburg, it's on a Saturday, and they had it set up so that they would have two sessions, one in the morning, one after lunch. And one was written mental, the other's physical. So by good fortune, I've been out of school so long, but I didn't even know how to study. And here these guys in college just finished college and all kinds of things, come take that exam. And at lunchtime, these kids that had their questions, written in the morning, was just telling what they saw, what they remember about it all. things like that. Some of it I remember, but one thing I remember for sure. It was the area of a right triangle. The square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. And it was. I got that right. On that. And I remember school then, but I never would have thought of it if we hadn't heard that. And the little lunch break there. So later, wasn't too much later, I got notice that he'd been accepted. So this is a different world now, you see, no yesterday. But you said the classes are full, and you'll be called at the appropriate time. It's home 3 months, getting $25 a month, private, unassigned, still Army Air Force.
Well, how did you, I heard you say you evaded capture. How did that happen? Did you get shot down?
Oh yeah.
Where were you at?
It's that time here. We were deep in Germany on the 22nd of February, but we'd been to the target already.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the unit citation for that. Our group did, which was presidential.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one before I got there, but I could still wear the ribbon. And then when the last day I was with them, we got another one, and with that ribbon I put a bronze Oakley cluster. So we were on the way home from the target, and we didn't have any escort, that being the P-38s,
yeah,
the 51s and the 47s, and on. The 51 was top of the line when we finally got it. It could go all the way to Berlin and anywhere we were going. And what they could do, rip the Germans apart, most of the time. But the Germans came up with a 2-jet airplane. I never did see one when I was there. But some came over, one at least came over our camp up on the Baltic. Sounded like a diesel engine. And he's coming out and reporting and showing off up there. And it was interesting to see. But you didn't want to face one of those things. They come through so fast. Now this particular day, we headed home. Got about, well, the town that I remember that I got into the first night in the snow on the ground. I could hear trains down there. I started walking the first day toward the sunset west.
What actually took you down out of the sky, though?
Focke-Wulf 190. There are 2 airplanes then. The main ones were the 190 and the 106. The 190 had a big engine because it was air-cooled. The other one, the 106, was kind of like the new one we had, the P-51. It was the inline and water cooled. So that was the difference in those speeds. The P-47 could outdive anything, but that was its main virtue, was diving. So anyway, I heard the train and I said, well, we'd always been briefed, to get a train if you can, freight train. If you get one in the 22nd or 3rd, all that week, which is referred to as big week in the air, well, I've just been reading something about big week, I was in there the 3rd day. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday was the day I went. So right in the middle of big week. And at any week, any mission, you need escort to fight off the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
German fighters. Now you're going to be shot at from the ground, no matter where you go. great big puffs, and sometimes they just wipe out an entire airplane, depending on where they strike. But they're mostly stuff just flying through the air when they explode.
Shrapnel.
Shrapnel, and you can hear it rattling through the airplane. I never had any real trouble with it, but we could hear it and pick it up.
Flak?
Flak. It explodes, and sometimes it can go right through an airplane, and it has a certain setting. It's not going to, on contact, it's not going to matter. But even doing that, to get so many vital things inside this airplane. That evasion has nothing to do with escape, but I saw then you're required as an American, if you're captured, you're required to stay all the time on escape planning, doing, and but in our camp, and I guess all of them, that was all secret stuff. And this little colonel I was telling you about, he got a wing knocked off with a thunderstorm.
Oh.
It's not funny. Him being top ace, I guess, at the time. He gets knocked down. No German did that. But anyway, the evasion part was just what I was doing, keeping out of sight. Although I did talk with some people that first night and got them excited. One girl walked up by the freight car that I was just jammed up inside. It looked small, and she had a light stuck in that thing. Said something, I just spit out all kind of words, that was no language at all. So she couldn't know that I was American. And then two guys came along just doing inspection, swinging around, talking to her. And they stopped and looked at my foot hanging out. I didn't move it. I didn't do a thing but leave it exactly where it was. And they started talking. I wouldn't say anything to them. So, and they went back down the train, blowing the whistle and flashing the light. I went under the train and got up on the other side of one of those cars and climbed all the way to the rear of it. And it was like this, and there was a load. First one I rode was kind of like gravel, and that was snow too, all that snow back there. That's where I got in the water. All the water I had that week.
Oh, from snow?
Yeah. But I figured I'd find some manna pretty soon, I remember the Hebrews lived on manna so well. They never did appreciate it because they didn't like it. But I said, boy, manna would look mighty good to me even in the dead of winter. And I didn't find any walking through yards at night. They were all blacked out practically, but when you get down here and looking up at some of the windows, you can see that light that somebody in there. No gardens, of course. No mountain. But I prayed for that. I prayed for food, not for mountain. Didn't get it. Yeah. You can't live without food and water, especially water. So when you're going to die, freeze to death or what? Don't know what. That's why you're out there. You don't know what.
How many missions you reckon you flew?
Well, I didn't reckon. I've got a record of it. Right.
Oh, yeah?
The flight one. I was on my 11th, and I went out more times than that. But to get credit for the mission,
Yeah.
you have to make contact with the enemy, like our fighters are both. So I had to turn back one day because I was leading a flight that day, not a squadron, but a flight which was 3 airplanes. And I was flying off the one I was flying directly under. You know, here is where I just kept my eyes the whole time. Any move he made, I unconsciously, just subconsciously made too.
Yeah.
Keep that position. And we got to having clouds. I don't think these were contrails this time. So I couldn't see him. I was so much invisible, no visible. So I put my gear down and pulled away the gear, indicating to the people that were with me that I was going out, you know, and they could follow or not follow. And I couldn't see him well enough to even catch up with him after that. So I didn't get a mission that day. And for each 5, you'd be awarded the air medal.
Yeah.
So I got an air medal, and then when I got another air medal after 5 more, Katie got it. She and her sister were working in a munitions plant in Indiana. So they knew where she was.
Where were you at when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor?
On the job, or at home, and I heard about it on the radio.
Yeah.
But I have friends who were at Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
In
yeah.
our Sunday school class. And they got fed up with what they were getting at church, and just went back somewhere. Just great people. He was there that Sunday. Pearl Harbor.
I bet they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
No, nobody.
No more than we could believe it when we saw 911 happen.
Yeah. And even, both of them could have been prevented.
Yeah.
We had intelligence on it, but we had people that could not make any decisions that were worthwhile, weren't believable to start with. Yeah, and it was soon after that I went through that procedure I was telling you about a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was signed on in March, December, January, February, March. Less than 3 months, about 3 months.
And where did you end up the war?
Flying these things here.
Oh, yeah?
No, this is post-war, actually.
Yeah.
But we were called up for a year flying this big one out of Donaldson. And we were called up at the time of the second Berlin hassle. You remember how the Russians cut off ground access?
Yeah.
We went in there with food, necessary things.
That was quite a thing.
It was. And we weren't sent over there this time for that. So I hadn't been on any of the Berlin drops. But some of them became drops instead of just landing and offloading. So this one, I got more out of flying this big book back here. All things considered.
Is that your favorite?
And
Yeah, I'm going to take a picture of this.
well, I love that 17. I used to be a guy I want my arms to be big enough. I love that. So cute. That's how pleased I was to get that.
Did you have an emblem on it?
No,
The ones you glued on?
no, I had him with the letters. My one that I lost had an F on it. Now when you're talking at your station on the radio, to identify yourself, get free. My first F on there was Z, phonetic, and just like the Winston's, and maybe a free. That last day. Of course, we never talked. We never taught individual airplanes, never taught the leaders to talk in suitable, right proper place. But she shouldn't say anything.
Kind of like the running silent on the airplane.